thank you for coming back to part 2 of this video. So the first part of the video you've seen is actually the bees swarming. So this is going to now the second part of just doing the inspection the day after. So as a quick recap, yesterday the colony that I got last year on the 17th of July went through the winter very well, as you saw in the previous videos. Has grown well. Today my plan was to go in, pull out some of the feed, the frames of feed that have lots of stores in there, and put in some of these. So they're black plastic and wax coated to give the bees something more to do, to draw out, because they looked like they were possibly getting a little bit honey capped, or there's been too much honey in here for the amount of laying that was needed at this time of year. You can see it's lovely and sunny. It's an Easter weekend. This is Easter Saturday. So yesterday was Good Friday when they swarmed. Tomorrow is Easter Sunday. So here, just wanted to make sure that what we have in here is either signs of queen cells in this colony here, or at least eggs that they can actually sort of make some emergency cells out of. Now what I did yesterday, you would have also seen, I took some frames out of this and put them in here to give them some extra space. I haven't added any further frames, that's what we're doing today. But if you recall, I did put one frame which did have some eggs in. So what I first want to make sure is there's enough frames in here with eggs, that if there is no queen cells, that they would be able to make some emergency cells. If not, I'm going to have to take that frame back out and put it back in here. Now, because they are still related, pheromone shouldn't be an issue just 24 odd hours later. So any bees that were still on, even though we'll probably try and brush them off, they will be accepted into this colony as well. But we'll see how that goes. So ultimately, what I want to do is make sure there's the queen. If I can see Queenie, which is what my daughters called her. So if Queenie is actually found in there, then we will actually go ahead and we will sort of know that that's all safe, and we don't really have to worry, just give them extra frames. But before I do that, I want to inspect this hive. As I said, make sure there's queen cells or enough eggs that they can make emergency queens, and also from that we will also make sure that there's enough work for them to do. So I'll be giving them anyway some frames anyway. I've already taken 5 out, there's 5 left in here, so I'll be adding some more to make them both up to 10. But key thing is making sure that there is going to be a chance of actually having a new queen in here. But I will also be looking, just make sure that I don't find, or keep my eye out to see if there's any potential virgin queens. Though I'd be surprised, because in the time frame since my last inspection, they shouldn't have any emerging queens at this point, because there were no signs, unless I missed any queen cells that were being made then. Okay, so let's dive in. Okay, so let's start the inspection. So first of all, I'll probably even move this over to the other colony so they can actually use that afterwards, but hopefully that won't really be needed. Now, as I said, I'm going to go through this first hive, the original hive, and so there may not be a queen in here at this very moment. Just check there is no queen. There is a little bit of brace comb, so I will scrape that off. So, don't really want brace comb, just makes more problems in the future if we leave it. So just take that out. As always, putting a crown board by the front of a hive, so that the queens can, and also the bees can go in. Now, great thing about these hives, and just with long hives generally, is just move them out. And I didn't put this rear board too close because I didn't really need to. So now I'm going to give them enough space. Just have a quick look to make sure that I don't see any queens or virgin queens. So, nothing coming to sight. On the last one, put them there, and let's go through. So I'll tell you what, I will also put some of the screenshots of the Broodminders, because absolutely fascinating. You can actually see and you'll see there on the screen right now, there's a drone. I can see quite a few drones in here again. So but what you will see there on the screen right now is some of the screenshots from Broodminder, which was with this hive, the first hive. And you can see which was some suspicions that have been had. So on here again, quite a few drones, pollen bread, and lots of bees, and just stores on that one. So the on there's that, as the Broodminder team have started to discover, is that before the actual swarm happened, 2 to 3 hours beforehand, there was actually a spike in temperature, and that reflects the fact that there's been increased activity. So we've got some drone brood on here, got cap brood, a bit of honey in the corner. It's quite light, got eggs and very young larvae in here in the bottom. So I don't know if you can see it on there, probably with the shadows, probably not, but there are larvae and eggs of all stages all the way through. And if I look at that side as well, again quite a few drones in here, and also more eggs and larvae. So before she left, she obviously went on a bit of a spree of laying eggs, which is always good at this time of year. So in addition to the temperature on the Broodminder sensors saying that the temperature in here actually went up and increased about 2 hours before the swarming actually happened, you can also then see when the swarm actually happened, because as you'd expect, the wow, look at that, full of comb. Oh, sorry for knocking the stand. Full of lovely brood in there. So that's, they're going to have a lot of brood coming out of this very shortly. So any new queen will have lots of space to live. But every other little space needs to be filled with the nectar that is coming in. And you can see on the top there, or which will be the bottom of the frame, you've got brood. For the drone brood. No signs of any queens. Don't see any activity around any particular bee. Not that you always do with queens. But what you can also see from the screenshot, which is the second screenshot you've now got coming up on the screen, that was the actual weight. So the weight of the hive dropped. Well, that's not surprising. A whole lot of bees left, and with them they filled their stomachs up beforehand, full of honey. So they had some stores after swarming, something to live on for a few days, and away they went. So you can see quite a significant drop in the weight of the hive. Sorry, I'm not paying too much attention. There are some little cups, queen cups down here, you can see there, but there's nothing in them. No eggs, and they're not capped. This one over here has some royal jelly in, but no eggs or grubs in that one, which is a bit odd, because normally they'll only put in the royal jelly. But there's lots of grub in here, lots of larvae, and there's again another uncapped. There's just a little one there, so I don't know if you can see through that. Can't really see any. There's no eggs in there either. So as yet, I haven't seen any cells, queen cells, that have eggs in them, and I don't see any emergency queen cell that's been created from a worker cell. So what I'm going to do, if this carries on, I will probably put the other frame of eggs back in here, but there are quite a lot of drones in here, so I'm going to leave those. I'm not going to. Some people take away the drone cells, I don't, so I think it's part of the natural cycle, and we do, if we're going to have an unmated queen coming out of this at some point, we do need there to be some drones to fertilize her. Still don't see any queen cells. This has lots of lovely capped brood and stores and pollen bred as well, but no queen cells. So got 2 more frames to go. So done 4, 2 more, so it'll be 6, because remember Langstroth traditionally, at least on the larger Langstroth sizes, are 11 frames. So there's 6 in this one, and this one is a little cup here again, but if I have a quick look, still no eggs or anything in there. It's almost as if she decided to leave without preparing any daughters for any daughters. Doesn't mean that they can't, so long as they have enough eggs they can actually do so, but in fact it's one of the reasons she left. Right, in here There are egg cells in every single one of those empty emerged brood. So she obviously did do enough laying. So I'm not going to be too concerned. What I will do is keep an eye on these. So probably next weekend I will come in again. And if I still don't see any sort of new signs of queen cells being made, what I will do is probably take from the other colony, which we'll have a look at just now, where there is a queen, obviously the one that was in here, and we will probably try and take some of the eggs from that one and swap a frame over so that they can maybe consider using that, because that would be, they need to do something within the next, I believe it is the first 3 days. Again, more drones on here. These ladies are still really docile. So I took a bit of a risk yesterday when I did go and get them from the rose bush that they were on. So there's no signs of queen cells at all in any of these. So, okay, so let me go through this. So yesterday they were a bit, because they are so docile, I did take a bit of a risk. And when I shook them off a rose bush into the tub that I caught them in before I moved them into there, I did get stung a couple of times. Well, that's not really surprising. Once was on the face. So yeah, but that's all gone. All the swelling's gone now. So I'm first going to put this in. I'm going to put a couple of one at the end, and I like to spacing them out a bit on to give them a chance to get used to all the frames. Get them up there. So the frames are from a different supplier, so I'm hoping they will still fit. They should do because they're standard Langstroth. And then I'm going to actually probably put one more frame here. So I want to put 4 frames in this one. Move these all over. So there we are. The good, bad and the ugly, shall we say, with it, our story here in lovely Hertfordshire with our bees. And it's quite, we didn't expect to come home yesterday from walking the dog to look out the window, and my daughter sort of come running in saying, "There are bees in the air, Dad," and I look outside and see the swarm actually happening. So that wasn't expected. So that makes life an interesting life. So never a bad thing. So the bees are getting a little bit more agitated, but still not angry or aggressive, just more of a moving around. It's not surprising. They'll probably go, "What's happening here?" Put all these ones, so we know that this lot has lots of brood that will be coming, so this is still going to grow even in the next sort of week or 2. Put that frame in, and then this one, and then lastly the last frame. There we are. And then we'll have the end board. So we've done that inspection for this colony. So I'm still going to just cover these up with the board. Yeah. And this one here. Put that in there. So I'm not planning to need to put the cells from there in here because there are quite a lot of eggs in here. So for that reason, I'm just going to leave them as they are. Okay, so this is the second colony. This should hopefully have Queenie, the original queen. I did move over the Broodminder thing. So just going back to what I was saying earlier in the video with the other shots. You can see in this that the temperature did actually increase once the bees were put in here. Well, not surprising because the bees would have been doing what they do, which is generate some heat. Because there's also I did put some brood in here and some stores that gave an incentive to actually stay here. But as you can see, there's only 5 frames here, so I wanted to get another sort of 6 frames in here to make this again another 11, because of course Langstroth have 11 frames in their hives. So move this over here. I will just quickly move this over so you can actually see on the other side. So they are looking very good. Nicely covered all the frames, but they are obviously covering every part of that frame and they're on the side, so they do need some more space and something to work. So I'm just going to move that back, and there we are. So let's go through and do all this. So first of all, some kind of gentle blow will work. Boil a little smoke. I just want to make sure that the queen isn't over in this section. I don't think she would be, but okay, don't see any signs of queens or any clustering except around here. Gently move them. Yeah, no queen. So the queen in here, Queenie, she is a 2021 queen, and as a consequence she has a white spot. So hopefully also, because these came from the hive she left, all the queens found this all the bees found this really enticing to stay, particularly when you can see all of that, the stores there, you can see it on there, absolutely full of stores, so they're not going to be starving at all. Just having a quick look here. Yep, nothing, just full of stores. So that one I will probably move a bit more towards the back. So there. Broodminder sensor. So just a reminder, that sensor there is a TH2 sensor. It measures both the temperature and the humidity in here. So again, there's some drones. This is just stores again, but so it's nice and heavy, but there is some space here that they've obviously even in the last day started working on. So this is a frame which was the last video of last year, where I just cut out half of one side. I can actually feel the breeze from the bees fanning. So I just took out some honey from that half of one side of one frame. This is a one they're building up again, even since yesterday. I wouldn't expect the queen on here, but I'll still just check. Just plain wax coated black plastic. The reason I go for the black plastic just makes spotting a lot quicker. Now obviously pros and cons, different people have different views about using plastic in hives. My view is I want to try and disturb the bees as little as possible, so the quicker I can do my inspections as well, and that means having a quick look. And there she is, if you can see, there she is with her white dot. So there's Queenie, so we know there's a queen in here. We didn't lose her as part of it, the process. And this is the cell which yesterday I said had lots of eggs. So as they're working on the other frames and doing on this one, and we know the other colony has lots of brood that will be emerging soon, but they also have lots of stores, but they both need to build out on the comb. So I will give them sugar even though there is a nectar flow as we speak. And on here, all very well, all good. Not much in the way of space for them to, or for the queen to lay much, but they still got to draw out some comb. So as they do that, it'll be a contest between brood versus honey. So let me put some frames in. So the entrance on this hive is completely opposite. This is facing east. The original hive was facing west. So even though it's in the same, original colony, the same hive was facing east and west. So I'm just going to move these around. Put that there. As I said, I like staggering. Again, people will have different views as to what you should or shouldn't do. I don't think there's any hugely absolute right way or wrong way. So that's a frame that had the queen on. We'll put all of these other ones here. One frame of store next to that. Actually, I'm going to put, because that's been drawn, I'll do this one so this one also gets drawn. And then the store. Then one of these frames, new ones again, to be drawn. And again, these bees are nice and quiet. Yes, I can hear them humming away. So I'm not concerned about either of these colonies at this point. I will keep an eye on the one that doesn't seem to have any queen cells at this present. 8, 10, 11, and this one. So there we are. So I will keep an eye on that, and if in the next week or so there doesn't seem to be any new queen cells being formed in that, I will take a frame out of this hive that has eggs and put them in there so they can actually make an egg, to make a queen cell out of those new eggs that this queen is laying. Again, should hopefully be very similar temperament. I love these ones. But Peter, I know I've asked you for another who gave me this colony. Didn't give me, I paid for a price. But just one of the key things I do want to make sure is that I want to keep that temperament going with the bees that I have, because they are really docile and quiet. And what I'm going to do is hopefully we'll have one with their own bred queen, but I'm going to get another one for Peter from later on in the year to go into the third hive, long hive that I have. So that's it really. I just wanted to sort of go through all of that. I don't think you really need to watch me feeding, so I'm just going to put that there. I do use the traditional English feeder. By that I will just show you what that is. Just this, and it has the cup here where they will come up, and that's it. Fill it up. It takes about 4 litres, just about a gallon, and that will go there. So I'll pour that in. They'll give them enough feed to draw out all of that comb. They'll be bringing in new nectar as well to keep them going, but hopefully all of that will keep them really happy, and there's going to be space for them to grow. And then here, our next video you're going to see is a bit of a temptation. I'm going to let you know what I'm going to be doing in respect of flow frames for these two colonies later in the year, as and when they do grow. Okay, so thank you for coming in and seeing that. Now, so we've checked both of those colonies, the old one facing west and the new one facing east. They're both looking all healthy. They've got lots of bees in both. It wasn't a small swarm. We've found Queenie the queen, so we know that she's fine, and that they're probably going to be able to carry on, and we can say that's definitely queen right. On this side, on the other hand, we didn't see any queen cells. I did see quite a lot of eggs, so there's definitely the opportunity for the bees to have probably worked out already that there is no queen in there. So within the next few days I would be expecting that maybe they're going to try and convert some of those cells with some worker bees and try and make 1 or 2 of those at least into a queen. Now when I inspect in a week's time, if they still haven't done that, or for some reason it doesn't look right, what I'll probably do is take a frame out of where Queenie is, one of her ones that she'll be laying over the next week or so, because what you want is eggs that are less than 3 days old, and put that frame into this colony. And with that, that will give these ladies a chance to create an emergency queen cell and make them queen right. But at the moment, I've got to say that this old hive, if I can, or the old colony, is not queen right. So we do need to keep an eye on it. I'm not overly concerned at this point, but we just have to be aware of that. But Queenie, in her new home and with all her daughters in there, they seem to be fine. I've given them both colonies lots of extra frames so they can work on that. I've given them both some syrup because they have to draw on that comb. In the old colony, if I can call it the east colony, we've seen lots of brood and lots of, all the way down to all stages, all the way to new eggs. So before Queenie left, she laid a lot of eggs. And so I'm quite comfortable that over the next 2 to 3 weeks, we're going to have new brood emerging in there. Hopefully, at least one of them will be a good successful queen, a daughter, from that hive. So I'm not particularly worried at this point, but we will just keep an eye on that. So, in order for that inspection, a surprise sort of turn of events, because obviously I wasn't planning to do a double inspection this week. I was expecting to try to take some frames out, which had some stores on, and put in some other frames so they could be worked on and hopefully delay any chance of any swarming. The ladies decided to do something different, so hey, that's beekeeping. It'll make it all fun. So we will carry on, and do come back if you've enjoyed this episode or any of the others, or you want to see how you make some syrup. That's in a previous video, so please do have a look back, and I will put it up in one of the links. But also, please do subscribe, and then you can be notified of all of these, all the ongoing sort of videos that we're going to put out. And tick that bell, and if you've enjoyed it, please like it. Thank you again, and thank you for coming to watch our family bee yard apiary here in sunny Hertfordshire. Have a good Easter.